everyone, Anita here and welcome to another video. Today I am so proud to present to you the next Animal Artists Collective piece. If this is your first time hearing about it, the Animal Artists Collective has been created with the hopes of promoting and helping animal conservation, as well as creating kind of a place for artists to collaborate, grow together and help each other. Once the artwork created during each theme is sold, the profit will be donated to an animal charity that was chosen by the creator of that piece. If you would like to read more about the collective, there are some really handy links in the description, as well as a playlist with all the videos by all the artists taking part in this theme and the previous themes in general in the collective. While I'm preparing to paint, let me tell you a few things. This round there's 6 of us. 2 artists have joined since the last time. There's Shade from Sadie Saves the Day and Valerie from Drawing with Fire. The other 4 are of course Denise from In Liquid Color, Jennifer from Jennifer Charlie Art, Eve from Bold's Vault, and, me. Just me on this channel. This month's theme was Oceans and Coastlines. And let me tell you, it was incredibly hard to choose an animal to draw. Not only there are so many, but through the majority of the month, I was conflicted as to how I should approach this whole topic. I was already conflicted during the first theme, but at that point I was more concentrating on actually putting the paintbrush to paper rather than the subject matter. As you guys know, I have some issues with my painting, so that's why. But this time, my mind was fully focused on the topic, painting animals. I don't paint animals, I mean, well, I do, but I never concentrate on the animal itself. The animal is just, like a convenient way to make things magical, Talking foxes, adventurous hamsters, right? But the thing is, I really love animals. And this is a rare opportunity to do something for the animals, to help, even if it's just, a little. So I was so confused because I couldn't think of an animal to paint. And it frustrated me until I realized that, I am not a fine art painter. So there's no way I can paint an animal just for the sake of painting an animal and be happy about it. I don't care if my paintings are realistic. We've already established that a long time ago. I don't care if the colors match the reality. I don't paint real things, and that's fine. That's fine. It's been a long day, guys. A really long day. It's fine, is what I wanted to say. My mind is absolutely and fully immersed in magic and fantasy. To the point that, and I'm not joking here, painting something realistic is just boring and painful. It took me a while, but eventually I started thinking how I could combine, a real animal and that magic I was looking for in my paintings. Because, it's not hard to just pop an animal in a magical situation and, call it a day and be happy. But the point was to create an artwork that was still focused on the animal and not some story, that I made up. It was all about the animal. And the funny thing about researching animal and, learning more about them is that to me it felt like a chore. I mean, I still love animals. They are beautiful, they are part of this world, part of nature. They're an incredible inspiration to me. But at the same time, learning the specific information was never really my thing. Unless I'm somehow invested in the topic, you know, then I just devour any bit of information that comes my way. That's just how it goes. So while I was researching endangered animals, I very quickly started to procrastinate. And instead of the animals, I looked into the legends surrounding, you know, animals living in the oceans, because that was my theme. So I looked into the actual folklore of, like, you know, island folklore, for example. And I've stumbled upon this Hawaiian legend about a sea turtle. And I'm not going to even try to pronounce that turtle's name because I'm going to butcher that. But basically, the legend was about this sea turtle who had an incredibly white head, just beautifully white head. And this was a lady turtle, and she was preparing to lay eggs, and while digging, she created a spring of fresh water that would later become the source of water for the entire island. And the egg she laid was this beautiful brown color that was the same color as the trees growing in the area. And the turtle that hatched from that egg would live in the spring, and sometimes would turn into a girl and play and protect children that were playing near the spring. There was my magic. This is exactly what I was looking for. I finally found something that spoke to me, you know, a real life magic. You know, that tale was inspired by an animal, that it was part of a culture, it was tied to a real place. To me, that was just, I was like mind blown. It was a great starting point for my own research. And you might, you know, as you might have guessed by now, this is also the story that inspired my painting. A sea turtle mother reunited with her child during a swim in the water. I have to say it's not exactly what happened in that legend, at least as far as I know, but it's just, you know, that's what inspired this piece. And you know, after all, isn't this exactly why we should protect animals? You know, sea turtles have been an inspiration for so many different legends and tales around the world. You know, not only sea turtles, but animals in general. You know, and now we somehow seem to have forgotten about it. It's also funny how a story can immediately motivate me to do research. The turtle from this particular legend is a green sea turtle, one of 7 different species of sea turtles, and I was extremely surprised by that because I thought there would be more, but no, there's actually just 7 species of turtles. There's a lot of information that's on the internet, especially at the organization that I am supporting this time. There's a link in the description, and they just have tons and tons of information about turtles. One thing I found extremely funny, and I'm gonna quote that, that sea turtles can sleep at the surface while in deep water, or on the bottom wedged under rocks in nearshore waters. But hatchlings typically sleep floating on the surface, and they usually have their front flippers folded back over the top of their backs. Like, how? Can someone please, I couldn't find it, can someone please show me a picture of that? I mean, it just, how? How does that immediately, like, in my head, I see this picture of a turtle, and it has those front flippers just tied on, on its back in like a little bow. Just, how does that even work? Another thing that I found really interesting, that actually came up during the research for the painting, is that, you know, turtles come in different colors. You know, from yellow, they have olive green, like brown, brownish red or reddish brown, black as well. During my research, I've even seen a turtle that was fluorescent. You know, guys, I love shiny things, right? And it was absolutely like mesmerizing how it glowed all sorts of yellow and red. Of course, fluorescent is not the same. It wasn't glowing by itself. It was just reacting to the black light, but still, it was incredible. So surprisingly enough, the green turtle is not actually green, but the name comes from the color of its fat. And, you know, a little bit morbid piece of information here. So the green turtle is not actually green, even though in my picture it's, you know, it's a perfect shade of green in some places. But the truth is, you know, sea turtles have been around for over 100 million years, you know, and yet 6 of the 7 species of sea turtles are endangered as a direct result of human, like, actions, you know. And let that sink in for a second. Turtles outlived the dinosaurs, and now they're becoming extinct because of us. Just let that sink in for a second. The profit from the sale of this painting will be donated to the Turtle Conservancy. It is the world's oldest sea turtle research and conservation group. It was founded in 1959, okay? That's a long time ago. And it was founded to save turtles, just basically from extinction. They are based in Florida, but they have all sorts of worldwide programs that mostly aim at conservation and recovery of the sea turtle populations. I mean, most of what we actually know right now about sea turtles and the threats they face has been discovered through the research programs of this organization. And like I've mentioned before, there's a link in the description and you can go there and check. They have amazing articles about turtles, and they've been my primary source of information for this video. I told you a little bit about what this topic, what my topic is for this painting. So let me tell you a little bit about what is actually happening and what I'm painting, how I'm painting. So the painting process behind this picture was pretty interesting because I'm continuing the trend of trying to release a little bit of the control that I always felt I needed to have over my painting. A lot of the things I've actually painted, it sounds funny to say by hand, but without any lines underneath. Now, I had some guidelines and a sketch, of course, but I wasn't really paying attention that much to what was happening. Now, the background itself is the biggest kind of example of that, because a lot of the lines, you could see me do that before, a lot of the lines were just, I wanted to have that fluidity of water represented in the background. And so I just took a brush and I would just layer strokes of like half transparent watercolor, just to create like overlaying waves of water. And I feel like I'm really happy basically with the effect I've achieved. This is probably one of the most satisfying paintings I've done in the past, since August last year. August last year was the month that I started to have problems with painting. They've been gradually getting harder and like bigger, but August was like the culmination of that, and I stopped painting. I mean, there were a few illustrations, smaller ones, but I haven't painted a really big illustration in a while. Even this here is not my typical illustration, what I usually go for. Chances are I will never go back to the type of illustration I've done before with the overly huge amount of details. There are chances, because I will never say never. You know, we artists are fickle and, you know, our inspirations change and our wants and needs change quickly. So just because at the moment I don't feel like painting an overly complicated painting, doesn't mean that I will never do it. So in this case, I just feel like painting something free. That's, I think, the biggest theme of my painting right now, the freedom. Just allowing myself to make mistakes, allowing myself to leave mistakes on paper, or rather not mistakes, but leave unfinished bits on paper. For example, in this case, if you notice, there is a very thin layer of white around basically the character and the turtle. And that's because I've purposefully, on purpose, I've painted only inside the shapes. And normally what would happen in this situation is that I would go back with either a white gel pen or white gouache. And I would go back and try to make those lines perfect. In this case, I did not do that, and I'm really happy to say I was satisfied with that. I didn't feel the need to do that. Because honestly, there is no need to do that. It looks perfectly fine just the way it is. The only things I was really concentrating on was having nice contrasts between the foreground and the background, have the characters stand out. That's something that I feel like I've been lacking lately. I had a lot of fun during October getting the tonal variation right, but I couldn't really put that into practice in watercolor because, of course, I didn't let myself practice that much. Once again, because I was afraid to paint. I was afraid of that failure. I was afraid to make mistakes. So I feel like, of course, I'm not there yet, but it's a positive change. I feel like how do I say it? I feel like I want to paint. And that's new because for the past few months, painting seemed like a chore to me. And I only did it because, it's my job. And I didn't want to drop it. Like, my mind was telling me I don't want to paint, but at the same time, I wanted to paint. It's the weirdest feeling ever. So, at the moment, I'm coming back with some colored pencils, because one thing I've noticed is that that's been something that's been bothering me for the longest time as well. I was trying to push myself to finish everything in watercolor, but there was no need for that. I could just use a colored pencil and get a little bit of extra texture and a little bit of extra color and a lot less stress. So why not do that? Okay, so that's what I'm doing lately. And here I'm actually adding a little bit more of that white detail and a little bit of detail that I didn't plan on. Because I'm adding lines with white, just white colored pencil to indicate the movement, just to improve that fluidity. I really wanted this whole background to just float, to seem like it's because to me the bottom of this painting is where the spring from the legend is starting, and the water is flowing out of that spring, and that's kind of where they meet. And so the water, I wanted everything to flow. And once I've added, I was planning to add bubbles from the beginning because, white stuff. But those lines just really tied everything together for me. And I was so extremely satisfied and so excited to finish a painting that I was happy with. Guys, it doesn't happen often to me that I'm so satisfied with a painting. Here you can see a little bit of the close-up. It's really hard to get the colors right. This is the most gorgeous combination of green and blue, just teal, turquoise. It just works so well together. I am so extremely satisfied with it that it's just crazy. And I hope you guys also enjoyed the painting process. There isn't really that much to say about it. It's just the most notable thing in this whole painting was me just playing with the background. That's probably was the most fun as well, just having those fluid lines. And I really wish I could show you the colors. That's just, I'm so happy with it. If you would like to buy this, to purchase this painting, there's a link to my Etsy store below. You can purchase this painting, and as I said, all the profits will be donated to the conservation, the Sea Turtle Conservation. And also, if you would like to see more of those paintings, there's, like as I've mentioned, a playlist in the description with all the other artists. I honestly can't wait. I am recording this a day before the release, and I can't wait to just see what everybody else has created, because you know, we've been posting sneak peeks, but nobody actually saw the finished product, so it's just as exciting for us as it is for you guys. So here I am, a little bit of a peel, I'm for the sake of YouTube, I'm not gonna say it, but I kind of became addicted to peeling off the tape and seeing the little edge, this clean edge appear. It's so satisfying. It's so extremely satisfying. So guys, please let me know in the comments below if you've enjoyed this video. I highly appreciate it. I tried my best to be as cohesive as possible, and I hope I've improved since last video. That's my big goal for this year, to, speak more, less rambling, okay? Ramble only in the places you're allowed to ramble. Not when you're trying to give some nice information to peoples. Okay, so yeah, thank you so very much for watching, guys. Please give this video a like a thumbs up, and a comment below if you've enjoyed it. And yeah, thank you so very much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!